So we're going to work through one of my mobility sessions today. This is from my new revamped Explore Mobility program. Specifically, we're on week 1, day 3 here. A lot of emphasis on the hips and the spine rotationally as we explore those movements. Before I jump into the first exercise, I'm going to start with some Shim Box rotations. Probably one of my favorite places to start because I look at the Shim Box once we're comfortable here as an assessment tool. So it allows me to kind of reference my body, maybe how I felt the day before as I kind of move through internal and external rotation in my hips. As well, while I'm doing this, I'm kind of feeling things. Maybe I'm leaning forward a little bit. I'm feeling those nooks and crannies. I'm probably going to get like maybe 8 to 10 each side. And once again, I'm just kind of exploring those hips, maybe adding some English into the pelvis as I rocked from side to side, trying to keep my posture as upright as possible. Big thing here and a mistake I think people make is they want to do this with no hands, and then they end up fighting for position, and they're kind of getting less out of this movement. I like to use my hands as a guide, trying to keep my heels in the same spot to keep my posture nice and upright, and keep that emphasis on the hips. If it's too difficult, you'll see some people in a traditional 90-90, and it's almost like, oh, I don't have that much space, it kind of locks me down. You can kind of pull your heels in closer to us, kind of similar to like a jiu-jitsu type setup when we're in these positions, but it makes it a little bit easier for you to be in this upright position and explore those ball and socket joints, especially if you're a taller athlete. Let's jump right in here. A1 I have, my first movement is roll down the middle reach. So we're gonna do this movement, really trying to sync up our breath work with this as well. So I'm gonna rock back, hands flat on the ground, hips up off the ground, and as I roll forward, that momentum of my body is carrying. I'm reaching, legs spread open, feeling this tension in the hamstrings, maybe a little bit in the adductors. Reach forward, I want you to stay moving. So we rock back, we immediately open, rock forward. We're trying to get a little bit wider, a little bit deeper each rep. I got 4 more reps. Exhale. Nice and slow. You want to exhale into depth. Exhale into depth. Try to get a little deeper each rep. Let's get 2 more. One more rep. Roll it back. Pick the hips up. Momentum forward. Open. And reach. We're going to pair that with an adductor rock to hip walk out. I love this movement because it kind of allows us to explore the hips a little bit, especially when it's done with intent. Big key here is I like to be in this A shape. I think sometimes we get leaned over this leg and we're getting less out of the tension of this right leg and this right groin. So from here, I'm going hands flat on the ground and I'm just going to rock back into the hips, feeling that tension in the hamstrings, feeling in the adductor and the groin here, but most importantly, when I walk forward now, I'm thinking about squeezing my glutes. I'm not just arching my back. Rock back, feel the tension in the hips, and then we're forward, squeeze glutes. I'm looking for 6 reps each time, kind of easing in and out of that tension. Squeeze glutes. Let's get 2 more. Rocking back. Rocking forward, squeeze glutes. When you squeeze your glutes, you'll feel that tension as seen here on this left leg a little bit more because I'm kind of biasing that position, squeezing those hips, driving my hips into extension towards the ground. One more time, let's rock back. Drift forward, squeeze glutes. So I got 6 reps of each of those. So I'm kind of exploring the tension of the hamstring, exploring the tension of the adductors, and I'm going back and forth. On that adductor walk back, definitely make sure you hit both sides before you return to that roll down the middle reach. I got that program for 2 sets on this day, so we're gonna go back and hit another 6 reps of each. Start with that rolling reach, trying to get a little bit deeper each rep. Two more. Last one. Now that we've kind of eased in and out of that tension, once again, through that constant movement, just going back to that adductor walkout. Remember our key points, sliding back into the hips, feeling that tension, rocking forward, squeezing your glutes without arching your back. I'm almost thinking about keeping my abs tight, like I'm holding a plank. Exhale. Drift forward, squeeze glutes. Rock it on back. Drift forward, squeeze glutes. Rock it on back. Let's get one more rep. Squeeze glutes. Rock it on back. Awesome. So you'll notice with a lot of my mobility programming is I love to pair things together. I look at it as compounding value. The body doesn't move in isolation, so when I can involve movements that encourage others, that help others, that the tension is somewhat similar, I think there's a lot of value with that when we zoom out and look at how the body moves as a whole. So for our next movement, we're going cat camel for 6 reps. Big thing here with the cat camel is starting with the pelvis. I want to point my butthole to the ground. Big reach up. I'm pushing the floor away. Inhale, open up the back. Exhale, fall down. Fall down. I'm walking down my spine, pointing my butthole up into the air, getting that pelvic tilt, going into a posterior pelvic tilt, trying to point my butthole to the ground. Start walking my way up that spine. Push the floor away. I like to inhale, open up the back, feel that tension across the backside of the ribs. Exhale. Drop through the shoulder blades first. Start walking our way down the spine, lumbar spine. Point your butthole up in the air. Let's get 3 more. Point your butthole to the ground. Work our way up the spine. Push the floor away. Exhale, drop in. 2 more. Point up. Inhale, open up. Once you get to the top here, if you want to wiggle to the side, kind of feel that tension, how it changes, get the serratus involved a little bit, bueno, go for it. Exhale, drop it back down. We'll get 1 more. I'm going to kind of get some movement out of my QL this time as well. As I'm doing those little wiggles, I'm going to get some lateral flexion, extension, bends as I'm pushing away, trying to open up my back. Exhale, dropping back in. Since we paired this with a cat camel, next we're going to a kneeling T-spine rotation. I love to involve this because now I have flexion extension of the spine, and now we're getting some rotation off this wall. So we're going to do 6 reps each side here. Big emphasis on getting my posterior pelvic tilt, almost trying to point my butthole underneath me, pointing it that way. I have a wall to give me some tension and some stability, and from here, I'm keeping this knee stable, opening up, exhaling, trying to find this wall. Inhale. Bring it back together. Remember, more isn't better here though. I don't want you just flopping open, getting to the wall. Keep this knee stationary as you open up. Keep it where it's at. Inhale, bring it back together. Let's get 3 more. Exhale, open. Inhale, bring it back. Once again, exhale to a deeper depth. Inhale, bring it up. If we want to get more intent out of this, we could put a foam roller between this wall and our knee as well. Exhale, open up. Inhale, bring it back together. Let's get 1 more. Push into the wall with this right hand. I'm following my hand. Good eye gaze on my hand. Inhale, bring it back to center. A lot of intentful rotation going on there as I keep my pelvis underneath me. This was just the one side, so make sure you hit the other side for the same amount of reps before you go back down to the ground for the cat camel. Let's jump back into that cat camel now. 6 reps, starting with the pelvis, tilting it underneath us, walking our way up the spine, letting those scaps move around the ribs. Drop the ribs down, or drop the scaps down, my bad guys. Extend through the spine, point my butthole up, head lifts, pelvis tucks, work my way up to the ribs, start pushing away, tuck the chin. Inhale, open up, a little bit of a wiggle, get some English going on there. Exhale, drop in, head start working our way down the spine, pelvis tilts. Let's get 2 more. Tilt that pelvis underneath me, work my way up that spine, push the floor away, chin down, drop in, nice and slow. 1 more, get as much movement out of that spine as we can, open up, a little bit of wiggles. Feel some spots, getting those nooks and crannies, that high reach flex position of the spine. Exhale, drop it down. Take that newly found range of motion. Hopefully those ribs starting to feel a little bit better. Let's go back to the wall. Let's get 6 reps. Intentful. Pelvis is underneath us. Exhale, open. Inhale, bring it back. 5 more. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale to a deeper depth. Pushing into the wall. Inhale, bring it back. Let's get 2 more. Inhale, bring it back. Last one. Inhale, bring it back. So pairing those two, moving the spine in a different way, flexion, extension, and then some rotation, I found that to be a great pairing as it comes to moving the ribs and is a good way for us to break up the day, especially if you're spending a lot of time during the day seated. This is a great way to kind of take that movement break, whether it's every hour or two, just take a couple minutes and do these 2 movements inside your office cubicle in your house, whatever it is. Open that spine, your posture, your shoulders, your back might feel a lot better just off those 2. Next 2 pairing that we're doing is we're gonna have a glute mobilization and heel clicks. I'm gonna get 8 reps a piece, but it's really focusing on the isolating of one hip at a time. So we'll start with this glute mobilization. I'm looking at being square to the ground. If I'm a perfect square, hand, hand, knee, knee. So I'm on this quadruped position. I'm gonna kick my left leg out to the side. And from here, I'm gonna bring this right arm up. So I'm still square to the ground now. My chest is square to the ground, and I'm trying to keep my pelvis square to the ground. From here, I'm gonna guide this leg around my body, contouring around the ground. I'm gonna tap my toe behind me, and I'm gonna bring it up to the side, tap my heel. Tap my toe, tap my heel. Tap my toe, tap my heel. Toe, heel. One more, toe, heel. Big thing I'm looking for is more isn't better. Sometimes when I'll have people do this movement, they kind of walk their hands in close, so we're kind of narrow here and makes it a little bit easier. I like to be wider, so it gives us a little bit more of a challenge to contour around the ground. Remember, height isn't better. You staying square to the ground and contouring around the ground is better. So from there, not trying to lift your leg up, but staying as square as possible and really challenge yourself. I'm almost skimming the ground. And if I was working with an athlete that's very mobile in the hips, and that's a pretty easy movement, I'm gonna have them walk their hand out even further. So now I'm in that tilt even more to bias that position to not allow myself to cheat and compensate. After that, I'm gonna finish up the rotation with some heel clicks. So I'm gonna think by taking my right hand, I'm gonna put down on my left ankle, and I'm gonna take this left hand, I'm gonna anchor it down on the ground. From here, I'm really gonna think about isolating the rotation that's occurring at this hip. So from here, I'm in this leg kind of trailing, so I'm sort of extended, and I'm going to lift this leg up where it's at, pull underneath, click my heel. When I put this leg back though, I'm not gonna just dump it to the ground. Did I technically do the exercise? Sure, but we really wanna challenge this joint, and it's really easy for us to cheat external rotation from here. So you're gonna have to be intentful with this. Let's get 5 more. So we're gonna pull this knee up, glide underneath, and I'm gonna pull this knee back slightly, keep it where it's at, and then put it down. Heel doesn't touch, knee only. Let's get 3, 4 more. Knee up, heel underneath, knee stays up, knee only, internal rotation, heel doesn't touch the ground. Let's get 3 more. Up underneath, control, put it back. Underneath, put it back. Let's follow that up one more time of each for 6 reps. Starting out with the glute mobs. Everything square, foot behind us, tap toe, up to the side, tap heel, control. Heel, control. 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 You're gonna have to pause the video, make sure you get both sides of each movement. Now to the heel clicks. In control of what's going on here. Nice and tall posture. underneath, controlling that rotation. Open up, external rotation, under. Keep that externally rotated position. Now internally rotate, take that knee to the ground. Open up underneath. Keep it high. Take it down. 3 more. Open underneath. Keep it high. Take it down. 2 more. 1 more. Relax. Make sure you get both sides. If you liked exploring that movement, definitely check out the new Mobility Explorer program, or even check out my beginner or advanced mobility as you start to load those tissues. But remember, it's all app delivered. Every exercise has videos, it has coaching cues. I break down the movements so that you can get the best coaching without me being there as possible. It's at your fingertips, and you have access to any program for a calendar year. So you can repeat it. If you're traveling, you need to stop it and restart it. You have access to all that. You control all that at your fingertips. Keep exploring.